It's 3 a.m. You're exhausted, but you aren't sleeping. Your thumb is moving on its own, a repetitive, mindless flick that feels like a choice and more like biological reflex. You're doomscrolling. You've seen a war, a cooking tutorial, a police rant, a fitness influencer, and a meme of a cat, all in the last 60 seconds. Your heart rate is slightly elevated, your jaw's clenched, and there's a dull ache behind your eyes. But here's the terrifying part. You want to stop. You want to sleep, and yet you can't look away. It's as if someone or something has reached into the cockpit of your consciousness and taken the controls. You don't feel like a person anymore. You feel like a terminal. Today, we're going to talk about why your brain feels hijacked. We're going to go beyond the dopamine buzzwords, and we're going to look at the actual decay of the human agency. Hi, I'm Jay. Stick around and I'll explain why the digital opiate is designed to keep you from forever finding yourself. We've been told that we are users of social media. That's a lie. The user implies someone who chooses to use a tool for a purpose. You don't use the scroll uses you. Modern life has become a war on the interval. Historically, human life had gaps. The walk to the mailbox, the wait for a bus, the silence before sleep. These gaps were where reflection happened. It's where the self processed the world and turned experience into meaning. But the attention economy views those gaps as wasted real estate. They have paved over every square inch of your silence with high velocity stimulation. So there's a concept in behavioral psychology called variable ratio reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines the most addictive devices on earth. If you won every time you pulled the lever, you'd get bored. But because you might win, because the next swipe might be that video that finally makes sense of your life, or the girl who finally looks back at you, you keep pulling. But notice what happens to your brain. When you are exposed to 15-second bursts of content, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for willpower, long-term planning, and deep thought, begins to go dark. You're being forced into a state of perpetual present. Simply put, you're just reacting. So philosophy calls this fragmentation. So when your attention is shattered into 1,000 pieces, your self is shattered too. You feel numb because you literally don't have enough sustained attention to feel anything deeply. Sadness requires time. Joy requires presence. Meaning requires a narrative thread. But the scroll is the enemy of the thread. It is a blender for the soul. It takes the you that was meant to be a coherent story and turns it into a pile of digital confetti. So why do we do it? Because modern life is hard. Because the gravel pile we talked about in the last video is heavy. Doom scrolling is the digital opiate. It doesn't solve the pain of being lonely or the alarm of seeing the world collapse. It just makes you forget you're feeling it. It's a chemical numbing agent for a generation that has been given everything to consume but nothing to believe in. We think the problem is the phone. Like, if we just bought a flip phone or did a digital detox, the peace would return. But have you ever noticed that even when the phone is off, the noise inside your head doesn't stop? The truth is, we scroll because we're terrified of what we might find in the silence. We are terrified that if we stop the stimulation, we would have to face the fact that we are spiritually adrift. We are like the beautiful ones in the mouse utopia, overstimulated, groomed to perfection, but utterly hollow inside. What if the reason you can't stop looking for meaning in the scroll is because you were designed for a voice that can't be heard in 15-second clips? There is an old story of a man named Elijah who was overwhelmed by the chaos of his world. He was looking for a sign, the truth to show up in a way that shook the earth. He looked for it in a great wind. He looked for it in an earthquake. He looked for it in a fire. But the text says the divine wasn't in the high-velocity viral moments. It was in a still, small voice, a whisper. The tragedy of the hijacked brain isn't just that you're tired. It's that you're being deafened by the only frequency that can actually save you. The Christian tradition speaks of the word, the logos. It's the idea that there is a coherent, grounded logic behind the universe, a story that actually makes sense. But that logos doesn't shout. It doesn't compete with Mr. Beast or the latest political outrage. Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Notice he didn't say, "I will give you more information." He didn't say, "I will give you a better algorithm." He offered rest. Rest is the opposite of fragmentation. Rest is when the pieces of your soul come back together, but you can't find rest in a marketplace that profits from your restlessness. The reason you feel guilty or alarmed when you scroll is because your soul is trying to tell you that you are being stolen. You are a child of a creator who works in rhythms of silence and deep work, and you are currently trapped in a machine designed to keep you from him. This hijacking of your brain is actually a spiritual kidnapping. So what do? I'm not going to give you self-help tips or tell you to download an app that tracks your screen time. That's just literally using the machine to help you fight the machine. I'm asking you to do something more difficult. I'm asking you to embrace the boredom. The next time you're standing in line, or the next time you're lying in bed at 11 p.m. or 3 a.m., and that itch starts, the itch to reach for the opiate, don't. Sit in the silence. Let the anxiety bubble up. Let the shattered feeling hit you. Why? Because that anxiety is the only thing that's still real about you. It's your soul's way of screaming that it's alive. You weren't made to be a consumer of content, but to be a witness to the truth. And that truth isn't something you find by scrolling down. It's something you find by looking up. The world is loud, and it's getting louder. It wants your agency, your peace, and your soul. Don't give it to them. Pick up your head. Breathe. There is a voice waiting for you in the quiet, and it has something to say that an algorithm could never understand. In the next video, we're going to dive deeper into the topic of silence and why we avoid it at all costs. But in the meantime, check out this series up here. Also, if this video speaks to you and you're currently in this struggle, comment below so we can talk about it. Until next time, remember, there's an explanation for everything. Let's find it together, and I'll see you with the next one.